Roman numeral 5, breakthrough of liberalism in the West, revolution of 1830 to 1832. Yes! Okay, the first big change is the Greek Revolution. Nicholas is much more willing to help out than his brother Alexander was. The French and the British don't want Russia to gain influence in the region, so they join in too. This creates a brand new independent Greece. It also creates Egypt, and it horribly screws up the Ottoman Empire. So this is the first big event here, is the Greek Revolution, which we get Greece, Egypt, and again, the Ottoman Empire gets a smash in the face. They slowly collapse like a flan in a cupboard. France, 1824 to 1830, the July Revolution. Charles was a big revolutionary leader. The emigres come back, the church gets power, leftists still exist, they refuse to cooperate. The king demands new elections. The Republicans win these elections. So Charles has changed the rules with the July ordinances. He dissolves the legislative chamber before they can meet, and the emigres can come back and so forth. And the Republicans can come back into power and so forth. He also censors the press, and he takes the vote away from the landed gentry. So basically he goes back, because he doesn't like the results of the election, smashes out everything that just happened, and says we're going to do it again. He calls for a new election with these new rules in place. At which point the public freaks out and says, nope, 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 nope. Can't do it. Which gets you to Charles X abdicates. With the abdication of Charles X, it's basically a restart of the French Revolution, or at least the Les Miserables version of it. Everyone goes to the barricades in the streets, everyone starts singing songs about the blood of angry men, the Thénardiers start stealing money from everyone. Am I getting a little too esoteric with my references? In any case, the barricades are put up. This time the army refuses to fire on the protesters. The army says, no, we're not going to kill innocent civilians over this. Charles says to hell with it and runs to England, at which point confusion reigns. Nobody knows who's in charge of the government anymore. Some want revolution to go back to a constitutionally elected government. Some want a new monarch. They pick a new monarch, but one that is supposed to follow the Constitution of 1814. The guy who helps to pick this ruler? Lafayette himself. That's right, Lafayette helps to pick the new ruler of France. He picks the Duke of Orleans, or Orleans. The Duke of Orleans, who takes the name Louis Philippe. Louis Philippe is, again, the name for the king that takes the crown after the abdication of Charles X, and this is the July Revolution. So known as the July Monarchy, Louis Philippe is a somber man. He adopts the tricolor as his symbol. The blue, the white, the red, the current French flag, that becomes the symbol of him, and therefore the symbol of France. He eschews regality. Think of Louis Philippe as basically the anti-Henry IV. Remember Henry IV blew half the treasury on Versailles? I hope so, because that was an exam question. But if you don't, he did. Meanwhile, Louis Philippe, on the other hand, eschews regality. He wants to, dress like the common person in a suit and clothes. Again, not, the common person, but more common person. He's not putting himself above everyone else. He gives the vote back to the public at large, which, again, goes a long way towards restoring the people's faith in the monarchy, but also goes a long way towards making the upper class a little bit grumbly. Revolutions of 1830, Belgium and Poland, letter C. The revolution in France leads to revolutions in other places, like Belgium and Poland. The benefits of the Dutch-Belgian Union. They had been united at the Congress of Vienna. Economically, it was a great fit, but politically not so much, because the Dutch king wanted to be an absolute monarch, and the Belgians don't want that. When revolution sets out in France, the Belgians seize on this idea because they are dirty copycats. They take the idea and they create their own revolution instead. They take to the streets to rebel against the Dutch. Revolution in Poland, same idea, except no one helps because they're the Polish. Again, if you're stuck on the AP Euro exam, guess that women got their rights taken away, everyone blamed the Jews, and the Polish got crushed. Because frankly, it's a reoccurring pattern. The revolution in Poland, same idea. The Polish see the French Revolution as their chance to rebel and get independence from Russia and all the other countries, at which point everyone turns around and smacks them silly, at which point everyone points and laughs at the Polish because they're Polish. Under reform in Great Britain, the Tory regime. The Tory had already basically everyone had begun to loosen up in England without a formal revolution. The only thing they hadn't really done is get rid of the Corn Act or fix the House of Commons. Which, again, pretty big things, but otherwise they'd loosened up a lot of the other regulations without a massive full-scale revolution. Under the problems of representation, there were no new boroughs created in England since 1688, and the boroughs were how they assigned representation in the House of Commons. Most of the boroughs that existed in the House of Commons were in the south, but the problem is England was growing in the north. So that means you have people in the north who are not represented in government, and vice versa. In the South, they are overrepresented in government. So in the South, you're talking about like one representative per 1,000 people, but in the North, it's one representative per 500,000 people. So it's pretty bad. The other issue here is the process for picking representatives varies wildly from place to place. In some places, it's an orderly election like we would do now with primaries and so forth. And other times, it's literally just the village elders getting together in a building going, hey, Bob, you want to be our representative to Parliament? Bills were proposed that would fix this. That would, create a more even distribution of Parliament seats, that would create a much more uniform election system, but all of them fail. Until you get to the Reform Bill of 1832. The Reform Bill of 1832 basically gets in through the back door. Through a series of legal shenanigans, this bill makes it through. It's not a terribly radical bill, but it is a change. It expands the electorate, mostly just by redistributing it. By giving it out to, again, more in the North, less in the South. So again, we're not like giving universal suffrage or anything, but this is a step in the right direction. And again, it's much more significant than it happened in England prior to this. Under the ambiguous impact of reform, the idea I understand is just that no one knows what to do now. It's a weak bill, but it'll have to do for now. No one really knows what to do at that point. No one really knows how to push it further. Britain after 1832. You got liberals and conservatives. The Liberal Party is the Whig Party. They are Whigs, radicals, and New Money. The Tories make up the Conservative Party. So the Liberal Party is the former Whigs, radicals, and New Money, or then you got the Tories make the Conservative Party. Except for it creates the two-party system that England has today, except for the names. Nowadays, it's Conservative Party and Labour becomes the Liberal Party, but again, that's in the future. So, two-party system that England knows and loves. They managed to abolish slavery in 1833, and they modernized local government. But then you get the Tory counteroffensive. Tories feel attacked in their traditional strength. The conservative Tories feel attacked in their traditional strength, church and state. So they go after the mines and the factories. By limiting factory hours and child labor, they're hoping to win back supporters to their base and so forth. You got the Anti-Corn Law League, which again is what it sounds like. It's an organization that protests the Corn Law. Again, it's what it says on the tin. The difference, though, is that they actually succeed. The success, and again, sorry, I've been doing this for a while now, I'm beginning to get a little punch drunk. The success of the Anti-Corn Law League is a massive signal for change, because again, the Corn Law was a thing that was very unpopular among the public, and yet they never were able to do anything about it. So the fact that they could end it is a huge sign of change, progress, and so forth.